Good morning, dear colleagues. The Ukrainian Crisis Media Center starts working day. The topic of our first press conference is the monopolies in Ukraine are going to be eliminated by the active citizens. We have Zhanna Solovyova, chairman of Zhytomyr Regional Youth Public Organization Modern Format, Denis Mylyi, head of Ternopil Regional Organization Democratic Alliance Party, Bohdan Malynyak, head of the NGO Expert-analytical group Accent, Olha Tkachuk, director of the Agency for Sustainable Development of Tysmenytsia region, Svitlana Storcheva, chairman of the NGO United Community of Kosiv region. Hanna Hopko is going to join us a bit later. She is the non-partisan MP of the Verkhovna Rada. Same can be said about Ostap Yednak, another non-partisan or independent faction MP. Please, you have the floor, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, esteemed colleagues. I would like to announce the initiative which took its start in Zhytomyr on the 1st of September, which was a symbolic day. The experts and different activists got together from the city of Zhytomyr and Zhytomyr region, and we carried out a kind of a function which was called 3 hours, 3 problems, 3 steps. Within those 3 hours, through the brainstorming, experts tried to establish what are the most topical problems faced by Zhytomyr, what the first and foremost steps should be taken in order to resolve those. As a result of this brainstorming, we had an idea to launch an idea, get involved. This is an idea which makes provision for using the active citizens to exert pressure on the authorities to eliminate the monopolies in the public sector and economic sectors in order to change the life of the communities for the better. And I would like to turn the mic to my colleague from Ternopil. We started in Zhytomyr, and then this initiative spread it over to other cities of Ukraine. Bohdan Malynyak, head of the NGO Expert-analytical group Accent. Esteemed colleagues, our team undertook a resolution of such an important problem as the influence on the authorities by the citizens, vice versa. In order to resolve this issue, we started in the financial sphere, and we grounded our idea on 2 different points. We had some experience already in this sphere, and number 2, let's say the distanciation between the citizens and authority gives birth to such a problem as the loss of the sense about the public money, public funds, which leads to some other negative consequences. Getting back to our experience or achievements, some time ago we started in Ternopil the idea taking the public budget, which makes provision for 3 things. Everybody has to report about the money used and the work done. Number 2, all the reports are going to be published at the public websites 5 days before this public report is going to be published. And number 3, anybody, any counterpart, any stakeholder, any party concerned can participate in those events, voicing his or her point of view. We started telling the times and days of Maidan, on the initiative Citizens Against Corruption, but when we introduced this idea, we came to understand that we can actively cooperate with the authorities only provided we have some professional experts, professional analysts who are capable at a certain level to be involved in discussion. That's why we organized and established such a group, Accent, and our activities are based on the volunteer basis, and our participation in this action allowed us to strengthen our activities and to cooperate with other NGOs, other public organizations, and further perfect our work. And we hope that our participation in this initiative will be will actually be instrumental in increasing our experience, our knowledge, professional skills, and our work in other regions. The floor is given to Mr. Denis Mylyi, head of the Ternopil Regional Organization of Democratic Alliance Party. Good afternoon. Actually, I got involved in this project rather recently during one of the event which was held in Ternopil. As a citizen, I actively participate in any resolution of the problems faced by my city, and I favor any initiative which could promote, let's say, self-organization or association, unification of different citizens to resolve different problems encountered by the city. Recently, the Ternopil actually was drowned in garbage and waste. You could find it everywhere in the street, in the let's say in the dump sites. Nobody was taking that, and we had a problem. The local citizens faced problem, and they actually blocked different roads. They managed to resolve this problem temporarily through some kind of the agreements or partial recultivation, but the problem is still there. It's kind of the Damocles sword which is hung over our city, and those toxic substances can get into the potable water because the dumping sites are in the second central zone of our water intake zone. During the initial visit to the magistrate of Yen, I was lucky to acquaint myself with their Department 48, which is responsible for cleaning the street and the waste management and garbage management. And they also bought the special waste disposal plant. And this European experience actually impressed me immensely, and I tried to be actively involved in handling and managing the waste or disposal of waste in our city. Together with the other MPs, we prepared several inquiries to the local authorities in order to study the situation in the localities with the waste and garbage management, and then to come up with a road map in order to resolve this problem. Also to consider the issue of the possibility of allocation of the waste handling factory or plant in our region. Svitlana Storcheva has the floor, chairman of the NGO United Community of the Kosiv region. Over the whole history of our country, Ukraine has not known this kind of barbarous attitude toward our woods and the forests. If we take a look at the railroads, hundreds of railroad cars carry the timber to other countries, and the woodlands, woods and forests were kind of the bread basket for the whole country. And they actually impacted the climate when they were instrumental in gathering the humidity and actually irrigating the local lands. And the lack of the irrigation of the lands is the problem faced by the Carpathian area. This is the problem which I decided to take care of, to coordinate within the framework of this project. One can say that this problem can be considered as one of the national security level problem. What is the reason for this problem? The reason for that is first of all, the corruption in the woodland management sphere, and not only in this sphere, but also starting from the top echelon of the power and all the way down to the bottom, including any kind of the agencies. The problem is that the woods and the forests, which according to our constitution belong to the people, in fact, they are not in their possession. Also, in our localities today, there is no secondary, let's say, processing, and since we don't have this secondary processing, the forests and woods will be felled again, because the only source of making money or earning money is felling the forests on the woods. And the last problem which surfaced recently due to the increase of the prices of costs for the energy carriers and natural gas. There is a big demand for timber, for wood, for firewood, and that's why they actually eliminate the forests and woods on a massive scale. But those are just the major problems we face. Also, we have another big problem. The problem the matter is that in 1950, 1960, our forests were planted with some kinds of the of poplar trees, and since those trees are specifically water hungry or water thirsty, the forests, the rest of the trees do not have enough humidity or irrigated water, and the share of those trees, poplar trees, in our region is 40%, which is a big share. According to the research conclusion of the Special Research Institute, they published the information in the international conference of 2006 with the participation of the Academy of Sciences of Ukraine and Prikarpatsia University. These kind of trees, which has kind of surface root system, they can lead to the mass scale dry out over several years or decade. And remember, we were talking about 2006 conference. Today we have 2016 year. That means that decade elapsed. And since that area is subject to drying out, it increases the let's say the fire hazard for the forest. And if fire, the forest is put aflame, you cannot possibly flame it. Stop it. It's impossible to bring some kind of special equipment or fire engines there because they are not accessible. Well, these three maybe will not, let's say, fall all of them, but they are going to start falling. That means that this cannot be even used as a firewood. And we are talking about the hectares upon hectares. We won't be able to seed or to plant anything else in that area for 6-7 next years until it is turned to humus. And since this is a kind of weakened crop culture, it attracts some harmful insects which spread over the whole healthy area of the woods or forests. And this is a real environmental threat which is in store for us in the nearest several years. How we can resolve this problem? Actually, we read that problem several years ago, collected all the users of the woodland. They said that they cannot resolve this problem on their own without the participation of the community, local community. First of all, there are no roads, no paths, there is no access to that area. The only way how to get rid of this tree in order to use the timber as a firewood, the people can use the horses only to get access to that, and which is also important and which is in the way of doing something. We need some amendments to be introduced into the legislation. We are talking about let's say this small scale felling of the trees till the stumbles, and the price is too high, and without any amendments to be introduced into the effective legislation, without another draft law being adopted, nothing can be done. So this is a big problem. It has to be resolved in the nearest possible future. In those areas which we have the let's say the fallen trees space, I believe that everybody saw that tragedy in the Carpathian area, and all those deserted or let's say barren lands after the falling of the trees, felling of the trees, should be taken care of. I mean, new trees should be planted there. In some areas, it's not favorable for the growth of that poplar trees. That's why we do not have the problems in those areas. We have to plant some other trees there. We do not have the seeds so far, so we try to launch other problems in order to purchase this kind of seeds or saplings and later involving children, involve the local communities by all means. This is absolutely necessary in order for in the future to use this woodland. We have to conclude contracts with those people, with the experts, to plant those trees, those kinds of trees, for them to take care of their growth. And there is another forest problem with the special bushes growing there, and they cannot be cut out or they can only be planted in the woodland. There was, briefly speaking, is our problem we face in the Kosiv region community. We actually 1 year ago we organized all the villages of the Kosiv district, all the activists involved, all the chairmen of the village councils who actually put their signatures seal under that document, and they actually nominated their active representative for that committee. We're trying to resolve the problems associated with the roads, and this is a good problem, and we try to take care of some other problems, which is associated of felling the forests and the dry outlands. Thank you. The floor is given to Ostap Yednak, Ukraine's MP, independent. Good afternoon, dear friends. Good morning. All those problems which were voiced by the active citizens from Ternopil, from Kosiv and Zhytomyr, those are symptoms of the sickness or disease which our country suffers from. This is monopoly to power in Kiev, in regions, in the local level. The problems are different, but their foundation, the old system corruption and lack of transparency and lack of efficiency of the authorities of different levels. It's understood by the large-scale illegal felling of the trees in Transcarpathian and Carpathian region, Kiev region, is the abuse on the part of the local and regional and national level authorities, where we have different clans, families who manage all those systems. Couldn't we, over these 10, 15, or 20 years, build the waste management plants or garbage management plants in Lviv or in Ivano-Frankivsk and Transcarpathian region? There were several companies addressing and proposing to build those plants, but they met with the refusal. Why? You can decide for yourself. So nobody is interested in openness and transparency of the authorities, because the local authorities in the same city of Ternopil, they have corruption ties with the local construction business, and they try to, without any general layout, general plan of town planning, they actually take the green zones, I mean the forested zones and the parks, to build new buildings. So what we have to do to resolve this problem, we have to mobilize all our efforts, all our forces to be involved directly in trying to resolve all those problems. Actually, that was given the start in Zhytomyr. It had this continuation in Ternopil, in Ivano-Frankivsk. This week we continue our trips, and we are going to visit Kirovograd and Kherson and Cherkasy in order to involve other people, other active citizens to try to resolve those problems. Thank you, Ostap. Hanna Hopko, Ukraine's MP, a non-partisan on independence faction, joined us. Good morning, dear colleagues. Actually, I would like Olga Tkachuk to speak first, who does a lot in order to resolve the ecological problems, and after her, I'll take the floor, okay? Good morning, Olga Tkachuk. I'm actual director of the Agency for Sustainable Development of Tysmenytsia region. We are talking about being involved in the direct actions. Perhaps today we can be actively involved in all the civil, let's say, projects, startups, because we believe that through this we can achieve some results. In the 21st century, when we introduce high tech, when we are trying to derive the electric engine driven vehicles, when we can use the alternative source of energy, Ukraine is being drowned in the garbage and waste. So today I would like to call upon all the not indifferent people of Ukraine to be involved in this very important project, because we are talking about this solid household garbage. This problem, waste. I mean, this cannot be resolved by only the strengths or the efforts of the community. We are not talking about the problem when we have to gather and collect all this garbage. The problem lies in the sphere of processing. That's why we call upon everybody to actively voice their protest against the situation and try to exert all our pressure we can on the authority to resolve this problem. Ukraine, raise and get involved in this movement. We had just fresh from the Minister of the Committee of the Foreign Affairs from the Netherlands delegation. They were skeptic whether they should support Ukraine or not, and we had a very animated discussion why this agreement is necessary for Ukraine and why Ukraine should be involved. And it's my pleasure to come here today and support the public initiative direct action, get involved. And in those regions which we visited already, we saw the continuation, on the one hand, continuation of the old practice of monopoly and the strict control of the local authorities over law enforcement bodies, over the mass media, this kind of usurpation of the power, the localities, which prevents the citizens to get access to the information. If we are talking about general layout of federal town planning, or some kind of how to achieve high quality services from the local authorities. On the other hand, those one of the first cities which we visited, I would like to thank Zhytomyr, city of Zhytomyr, for their activities. They actually launched this movement, Get Involved. And it seems to me if even Ukraine, at least 5 to 7% of the population will get involved in trying to resolve their own problems, starting from their building they reside in, from the small city or region, then this will spell a real decentralization. It seems to me that the changes or amendments which we are trying to introduce to our constitution or to give more power to the local authorities, when the people get involved, they will make the authorities more reporting and transparent. So my call upon everybody, get involved, because your being not different, let's say, will make our country in which everybody would love to live in. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Some of the questions or clarifications. First of all, if you're talking about this initiative, Get Involved, how many people are already involved in this initiative? How anyone can join you, and where can we find you if you're talking about the social networks? Who can answer that question?
The initiative started from Zhytomyr. In Zhytomyr, there were about 35, 40 people. In other cities, about that number, 3 cities were involved, and we can calculate the people, but these were the people who had physical capability to come there. But there are many supporters, and in Zhytomyr, we put information on Facebook, and a lot of people address, and they want to join us. And yesterday I had a meeting, and one my colleagues, she asked, how can we move forward? I heard about the initiative in Zhytomyr. There is an abandoned church of 15th century, and this church belongs to an enterprise, and they want to rebuild it. And she wants to join this initiative in order to help locally and to develop such projects. Also, there is a group on Facebook, there is a page in Google, and you can find hashtag get involved and find information on the internet. Thank you. The next question to Ostap, and about the oblast centers where these meetings were already held, and what are your plans on this? Zhytomyr, Ivano-Frankivsk, Ternopil, the week before the last, and then this week starting, we will be in Kirovograd, Kherson, and Cherkasy. Then next cities are not planned, but we are helped to organize these events and to conduct brainstorming. People from School of Business and the State Administration, and there are some coordinators on wastes, on forests, and then they tell us whether we need to send an inquiry request to some governmental bodies, and we, as deputies, we monitor the process, and in this way we help citizens to resolve the issues. So about get involved, the distribution of information on mutual help, and there were some representatives of international organizations who are speaking about programs. Canada Institute also involved, and some our representatives can go and make some reforms in the sphere of housing, and we have also some experts from Zhytomyr who not only control the budget, but they are involved in forming the budget in order to involve the issues that are concern vulnerable categories of population. And it is important that people get involved. They share resources and support each other and develop program, and then activists from one city, they go to other city, and then they share experience. And it can be some requests, some joint programs. Also, we should involve investors, and in Ternopil, they plan an investment forum for May. And it's very important for because this is a depressive region, and it should get international investment to open some cultural institutions. And also in Frankivsk, we were speaking about Japanese cultural center, and we were speaking about the visit to Ivano-Frankivsk in order to see opportunities there. So this is sharing of resources in the framework of social initiative. Get involved. Thank you, dear colleagues. This is the end of our press briefing. We wish you success. Until the next time, goodbye.
Може вниз спуститися?